Recently, Joy Behar and Meghan McCain of The View got into a heated dispute over democratic socialism, and Joy Behar was absolutely fantastic. This segment started off with Whoopi talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, and Whoopi's reservations about having democratic socialism in the Democratic Party, to which Joy responds as follows.
Isn't it more like, isn't democratic socialism very close to liberalism? I mean,
No.
well, think about it for a second. Medicare, Social Security, garbage collection, the post office, the library,
I agree with you.
Department, that's all
I agree with you
democratic
because
socialism.
we had her on the
First of
show,
all-
and I asked her this question about what do you mean by being a democratic socialist? And she went over her platform. She says Medicare for all.
Good.
Fully funded public schools and universities.
Love it.
Paid family and sick leave.
Good.
Justice system reform, immigration justice, infrastructural overhaul, clean campaign finance, an economy of peace, housing as a human right.
Well,
I don't know.
It's a really successful country.
Can I please push back on
wrong
this?
with
Because
that?
This makes my head explode, which, by the way, I hope Democrats do run a democratic socialist.
Do you
which
hope
is
that
just,
we win? Do you want the Democrats
No, because I
beat
think you'll
Trump?
lose spectacularly, and then I will look forward to election night when I finally get to tell everybody I told you so if you end up running a radical. Problem with socialism, in the words of Margaret Thatcher, at a certain point you run out of spending other people's money. Venezuela, one of the richest countries in the world in the 70s. Now, the average Venezuelan has lost 24 pounds because they're starving to death. 90% of the country is living in poverty.
I think she's talking more about Scandinavia than Venezuela.
I'm sorry. This is what I need from her. Name one country that socialism has ever worked, and also every democratic socialist who is
Copenhagen,
going on TV
Denmark,
saying that it's good needs to
Norway,
start paying 90% in taxes.
Iceland.
On your tax form. No, on your tax form. On your tax form, I think you should start paying the amount of taxes that every socialist in this country thinks you need to. Because if you think the government is so good at spending money, look at the VA.
Hold on a second.
Because it is dangerous.
I
It is
just told you
dangerous.
several countries
What
that
about
do
the
it.
countries?
But
I'm
besides,
sorry,
hold
these
on
are-
a minute.
Hold
With
on,
a population
everybody, God bless you all.
I hate that bell.
Hold, I know you hate the bell. Then everybody stop talking over each other, and I won't hit the
Countries
bell.
with a population
Don't
of
make her turn this car
300,000
around.
people, in
What?
any way,
Can I finish
in
my
no
thought?
way can be related in any way comparably to the United States of America. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All
If
right,
you
go
think
ahead.
it's good, then you need to be paying the amount of taxes
there a
that
period
in
coming?
Let her
socialistic
get her thing and go
Or a
ahead.
semicolon.
Because it's
Yeah, go ahead.
petrifying to me that
Go
this
ahead.
is being normalized.
All right,
What
go
about-
ahead.
Okay. So, you're saying you run out of people's money,
Other people's.
other
Thatcher.
people's money, Margaret Thatcher.
I didn't say that. She-
They have just given this enormous tax break to the very, very wealthy in this country. That tax break doesn't have to be so generous to those really rich people, does it? Because if you don't give that money to them, what happens to that money? Better schools, better post office,
I'm sorry.
better
Medicare.
garbage pickup, better police
If you
department,
think-
better
if you
fire
think the
department.
government
Now that was great. That was great. Look, I just got on Joy Behar very recently about something she said, but I do genuinely like her. Although I do not watch The View a lot, when I do watch the show, Joy comes across as someone who genuinely seems to want what's good for people. And here she did a really, really good job. And what she did a good job of doing was removing the label of democratic socialism and started talking about what that actually means in the case of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in terms of policy. People like to try and just scare people by repeating the word socialism over and over again like some sort of spook word. But that's all it is, a spook word. Because when you look behind the policy of a Bernie Sanders, of an Ocasio-Cortez, their policies are great. They want universal health care, something that a lot of countries already have, and most Americans support. They want to make public colleges and universities tuition free, again, something a lot of countries do and most Americans support. They want paid family leave, something almost every single country on earth already has, but we don't. And again, most Americans support it. Most Americans support paternity leave, aka the father getting paid leave. And most Americans support maternity leave, aka the mother getting paid leave. And I could go on and on. Almost every single policy Bernie and Alexandria push for, most Americans support. Joy and her co-host Sunny do a great job pushing back and explaining the policy. Now Meghan tries to push back and say that she hopes we run a democratic socialist next election because she thinks that candidate would lose quote-unquote spectacularly. If she means she hopes, for instance, Bernie Sanders wins the Democratic nomination in 2020, count me in. Meghan must not look at polling very much because if Bernie had been the Democratic nominee in 2016, according to the polling, Bernie probably would have beaten Trump. Hence why people kept saying after Trump won the presidency that Bernie would have won. Then Meghan McCain brings up Venezuela, a country I'd never heard a progressive bring up as an example of a country they are trying to emulate. To which Joy says, no, I think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is talking about wanting to be more like Scandinavia, which Meghan just ignores and asks for a democratic socialist to name one country where socialism has worked. To which Joy almost immediately replies Sweden. And then Meghan keeps trying to ignore her, and then Joy mentions Denmark, and then Norway, and then Finland, and Iceland, and at this point I'm just like, oh my, Joy is on fire. And Meghan didn't seem to know how to respond. Joy answered her questions so quickly and so well, and Meghan seemingly didn't know how to handle it. All of those countries that Joy mentioned, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, and Iceland, have universal health care, tuition-free public colleges, and family leave. And all of them, according to the World Happiness Report, were among the top 10 happiest countries in the world in 2017. In fact, Finland, Norway, and Denmark have all been the happiest country in the world the past 3 years. Denmark has been the happiest country multiple times in recent years. Now, as aforementioned, at this point, I'm already like, wow, Joy is absolutely owning this debate. But Joy was not done just quite yet. Meghan starts trying to scare people, talking about taxes and people having to pay for things. And Joy very astutely was like, wait a minute, the wealthy just got a huge tax break that could have been used to pay for these things that these candidates want, that actually help out the American people. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Joy absolutely nailed it. Those tax cuts could have paid for those things. Why do the American people keep having to give the wealthy all of these breaks? The middle and working class have already seen a significant portion of their wealth get transferred to the wealthy in the past 4 decades. The wealthy did not need and should not have received that tax break. Rather, the wealthy need to start paying their fair share of taxes. But anyways, wow. I just can't get over how great Joy was here in this debate. She absolutely owned this. What a tremendous performance. Way to go, Joy. Hey guys, if you want to help out this show, you can follow our various social media links. Also, we have a Facebook group that you can join as well. And if you want to follow me on social media, you could do that as well. Alright guys.